Hi, Jay. This is Dave from Olympia, Washington. I am still slogging through backlog this weekend. I just finished an episode that had broached the idea of free speech fundamentalism, as that's such an odd juxtaposition. But the idea that free speech is a value that should be protected at all costs, and everything else should be subservient to that ultimate good. So over the years, I have become I don't know, a decade ago, I was very negative around ideas of religion. And I think I've grown. It's not religion per se, it's fundamentalism. It's an idea of anything being absolutist. Wahhabism, ideology within Islam is dangerous because it's fanatical, not because it's an Islamic strain, because it's a fanatical strain of Islam that holds certain things to be absolutely paramount, and everything else in society has to bow to that idea. White supremacy is the same way. It's an absolutist ideal that there is one race and everything else must bow to that value. And any fundamentalist ideology is fundamentally flawed and dangerous, including a fundamentalism around an idea which is ostensibly good. I mean, I'm in support of free speech. I don't think it should be never respected, but to hold it over everything is simply wrong. If you want to get a little more analytical, there's a recent Rationally Speaking podcast, and they looked at kind of logical impossibilities and infinities. I think the classic example is, I've just blanked, the bet around the existence of heaven. You know, because there's the infinite possibility of infinite bliss versus infinite pain if you're wrong, even if it's very, very, very unlikely that you're right. It's to your benefit to believe in God on the off chance that they actually exist so you can get into heaven. One of the takeaways for me was the weirdness that comes in whenever there's an infinity involved in an equation. Everything else becomes zero. They're not solvable in like normal mathematical calculations because they go to limit. They become undefined. They're not normal equations. And so when anything becomes absolute, including the value of free speech, what that functionally means is that everything else in society becomes worthless. You probably don't mean it, but what you're saying when you say you're a fundamentalist for free speech is you're saying that nothing else has any value. Civil society, money in politics, rights for anybody, a working justice system, clean air, clean water, protection of the environment, every other thing in society is worthless. And I'm certain that's not what people mean. They mean they just put a very high value on free speech, but that's the literal meaning of the words they're using when they're saying that it's fundamentalist and that it's an absolute right which should never be broached. For all those reasons, I am incredibly skeptical of even the concept of fundamentalism, even words which imply it in conversation like all or never. I try to expunge from my working vocabulary because they're not actually useful at either conveying information or in conducting any sort of positive, social interaction by means of communication. This one you can try it for yourself. It's a little experiment. Use the phrase, "You always to start any conversation with your spouse, housemate, somebody close to you, and see how that conversation goes. Or you blah, blah, blah all the time, be absolutist about any statement. And so first of all, you're wrong because nobody is 100%. But secondly, you're going to engender like immediate negative pushback from that person and meet massive resistance. So fundamentalism, bad. In all cases, maybe I'm a fundamentalist about that, which that's a contradiction. As always, Jay, thank you so much for the show. Stay awesome.